Welcome back, guys. So it's been a little while since I've talked about the Nintendo Switch, but we all know it's been selling like crazy. It's gaining momentum like nuts. It's become the fastest selling console of all time, which doesn't necessarily mean a lot, but you know, them with the projections and the numbers they're throwing out there, as an example, you know, they just recently had a meeting with their investors and they're like, dudes, we're dropping 20 million more sold in 2018. That is crazy. Now, you know, they're what, 17, somewhere around there. They're going to have 17 by you know, next month or so, 17 million. I don't know the exact number, but they're way up there, you know, beyond the Wii U's lifetime sales. It's pretty crazy. But with the 20 million sold in 2018, I definitely see that being possible. Staying the fastest selling, yeah, becoming the #1 selling of all time, that, you know, in the current state of gaming, it's a little Game Tato, you know, reference there. Peep out Game Tato, the state of gaming. With the state of gaming at this moment, it's kind of crazy. You know, for years since, you know, PS1, PS2, NES, Super Nintendo, there's been console revisions. There's been tons of console revisions, and it kind of spikes interest or re-interest into the console. But Nintendo, they've got a unique system here. It's a handheld console hybrid, and there's a lot of people who want, you know, oh, I want a bigger version of the Switch. I don't need a bigger version of the Switch. But you know, there's been talk since right after the Switch was released that there would be a mini version, and that's kind of the thing that I'm looking at that will get those numbers. If they did release a mini version, and people are predicting in 2018, I don't necessarily think, I mean, they could surprise us. Nintendo's surprised us before. I think maybe if it is in 2018, it won't be till toward the end of the year, but I'm almost thinking early 2019. But what people are talking about, and they've been talking about for a while, is with these number predictions and you know, what they're anticipating, how do you maintain those sales numbers? You have to keep on being, you know, innovative and creative, and Nintendo can definitely do that. You know, they've had many iterations of their handhelds, and this system is a handheld but a console at the same time. And you know, their 3DS is getting to the end of its lifespan. Let's just be honest there. You know, it's been a long while since it's been out. They're still putting out great games for it, but I think I see the interest waning on that. And I think Nintendo might recognize that and see, like, hey, we need to put total focus into the Nintendo Switch. But Nintendo has always dominated the handheld market. Always. There's always been contenders, but they've never amounted to the appeal that Nintendo's handhelds have had. I've owned a PSP. I've owned a Vita, or I still own a Vita, which it's one of my favorite handhelds. You know, and even back in the day, I had a Game Gear and Atari Lynx, a Turbo Express. And they were all great systems in their own right, but Nintendo has always had that spark of just, you know, being innovative, but being on the lower end. Like, you know, the 3DS is like outdated technology. That doesn't even hold a stick to the Vita's graphics and whatnot, but it goes back to, it's not always about graphics. It's a lot of times it's that gameplay, and with Nintendo a lot of times it's also nostalgia factor. When you're reintroducing old school games in a new school way, you know, with new Mario games, new Legend of Zelda games, you're getting those old gamers back into it. You're getting those new gamers who, you know, their parents played those games, or they just love retro games. Everybody's getting into it. So with a mini Nintendo Switch, I definitely see that being a big possibility, because that 3DS is on its way out, in my opinion. The sales are still strong, but it's got to give. Like, what's the successor to the 3DS? I don't think there is a successor at this moment. I think the successor is really going to be this Nintendo Switch Mini, because, you know, it's a handheld to begin with. Now, the Nintendo Switch by itself, it's a $300 console at minimum, you know, minus buying anything extra. Do you want your little 6-7-year-old and their grubby little mitts on a $300 system? I mean, yeah, I know, like, the 3DS was like, I think it was like $250 when it first came out, but money's different. money's different now. Money's tight too. I don't know. But me, I mean, I wouldn't want my kids playing the Nintendo Switch in handheld mode, taking it out and about. Like, I'm very picky. Like, you need to wash your hands before you touch a controller, that kind of thing. But I think Nintendo would definitely be smart in doing a mini version with, just like this picture shows in the corner, this little mock-up, you know, with no Joy-Cons being able to be removed. It's all like connected with a D-pad instead of buttons on the left side, because you don't have to worry about having an extra controller. That's the reason why it was buttons instead of a D-pad, is in case you want to use them as additional controllers to do multiplayer games. If you have an all-in-one system that you can't remove the controllers, then the D-pad is what you need. So that would definitely be smart. If they drop this and retailed it at $199, doesn't come with anything, just the system, and you better put a power supply in there. Come on now. Power supply, system, nothing else. I think that'll be legit. Now, if there was also, you know, a way that this could connect to a Switch dock, which I think they would still do, because it's not like crazy technology to plop that bad boy in there, but they could also, to cut costs, maybe not have that compatibility. But I think it would be kind of lame if they didn't. So I think they most likely would, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, and it was just straight handheld Nintendo Switch only. I mean, it is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm almost willing to guarantee that that is going to be the next incarnation of the Nintendo Switch. The numbers speak to it, the predictions speak to it, the trends speak to it. Console revisions, I mean, what other console revision can you do with this system? Expand the memory? Little too late on that. You only put 32 gigabytes, so I mean, what are you going to pump it up to, 128 gigabytes and charge $350 for it, or keep it at the $300 mark and have an extra, you know? No. I mean, this is a tablet essentially. I think the next revision is not going to be memory or, you know, just cosmetic. They'll still be doing like little custom special editions and stuff, but I think the next incarnation is going to be something totally different, like the Nintendo Switch Mini, that targets the younger audience, the portable audience, the people who want just a handheld system to take out and about with them. The Nintendo Switch is not a big giant thing, but as far as portability, it's not that portable. To be carrying that around with you everywhere you go can be a little bit of a hassle. If they shrunk this bad boy down to the size of a PlayStation Vita, then yes, you got some portableness there. You got a little more ease of carrying it around with you. You know, Nintendo Switch not outrageous, not like you're lugging around a 50-pound crate or something, but I'm just saying, as far as the simplicity and the ease of carrying things around, that would make a lot of sense. And I really think they would be smart to do that, and I already think they don't need any of us to tell them that. Definitely think that's in the works. And I have an idea that we will be seeing firm evidence of that within the next few months. No matter what anybody says, it's all rumors and speculation right now. But I have a strong feeling that within a few months we will have some firm evidence that this is in the works and this is going to happen. Either for a late 2018 release, which holidays makes sense, but sometimes Nintendo doesn't care about that. They just throw stuff out. But I'm really thinking maybe at the 2-year mark of release, in March of 2019. I definitely see by then, somewhere around then, that the 3DS is no longer supported and that the Nintendo Switch Mini is the successor to the Nintendo 3DS. But what else could that lead to? I've been really big on Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games lately, with the Super Game Boy, the Game Boy Player on the GameCube. With the Nintendo Switch, don't you think they could possibly do some kind of hardware that we could play 3DS games on the Nintendo Switch? Maybe on our TV, not handheld mode, I don't care about that, but maybe where there's an adapter that hooks to the Switch dock that you could put your 3DS games in there, bloop bloop, pop them in, hold the Nintendo Switch in your hand, and that's the touch screen, and then the main screen is up on your TV. I'd be all over that. That would be freaking awesome. If they did it like they did with the GameCube, where you got to have like a little, the GameCube, you had to have the little Game Boy Player disc, You know, if it was like that, where you had to have a 3DS player cartridge in the Nintendo Switch, and then have the little adapter thing in the dock for the Nintendo Switch, and then your game in there, man. If that happens, make sure you never lose your little cartridge, because these little discs for the Game Boy player, man, they sell for a pretty penny, man. Pretty penny. Crazy stuff. So, you know, that's the stuff that's being talked about right now. I would be really excited to see that, especially, you know, the 3DS attachment. That would be cool. Nintendo Switch Mini would be flipping amazing. You know, there's a lot of other talk out there right now, like the firmware rumors that Nintendo's going to be talking about, the Firmware 5.0, which is going to have Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff, themes for the system, cloud storage, a lot of stuff. A lot of people are saying this is just rumor and just fake, like this video that was put out there was faked. And that video has since been removed, so I don't know how many people have actually taken a look at it. But, you know, there's a lot of people who've debunked it due to the memory size for everything. But at the same time, if this was like a behind-the-scenes Nintendo developer type thing, or Nintendo in-house thing that leaked, or some kind of beta tester, you know, maybe things wouldn't make sense to begin with, just for sake of testing. Who knows for sure? People are saying the memory didn't line up for, you know, the games being downloaded and on there. And I looked at that, and yeah, that speculation makes sense. But at the same time, these are features that are a given. Do I think they're gonna release all that at once? You know, with a browser, with a virtual console, they could surprise us, because right now the firmware and everything that's on the Nintendo Switch is fairly bare bones. There's nothing special on there. It's a very dull user interface, which I'm happy with. I don't really care. I don't, you know, I try to get on the Xbox One, and the user interface is just like overwhelming to my little brain. Just confuses the heck out of me, which I really appreciate the Nintendo Switch being kind of simple. And even with this firmware update, if all this was true, it's still kind of simple. But the speculation, who knows? Will they drop all this at once? I don't think they'll drop all these features at once. I don't think they're ready to. It could surprise us. We'll find out with the Nintendo Direct coming up. But that's about it. I just want to talk about the Nintendo Switch a little bit. I really love the system. I've been buying a lot of games for it. I'm looking forward to possibly streaming some stuff pretty soon as well. But that's where it's at. What are your feelings? What do you think about Nintendo Switch Mini? What do you think about the firmware craze that's going on with the leaked firmware? 20 million units being sold in 2018. That's crazy. On track to be the best-selling system of all time. It's already the fastest-selling of all time, which, you know, whatever. That doesn't mean a lot to me anyway, but they've sold a ton, and that trend is going to continue. But to maintain that, they're going to have to do something crazy. And I think the Nintendo Switch Mini as a little side piece to that line of devices will be awesome, and will definitely get people buying it again. If they put that out, I'll buy a Mini and still have my Switch. I don't care. So they know we'll do that. So I know they'll probably do it. So smash that like button, drop a comment down below, subscribe if you have not done so already. And with that said, guys, I will catch you next time. Boom! Peace out!